Life often feels like a game of endless pushing and pulling, chasing goals, forcing outcomes, and wrestling with time itself. Yet, the more we struggle, the further peace seems to slip away. What if the secret to real freedom isn't in control, but in letting go? What if life unfolds most beautifully when we stop trying to bend it to our will? There are 10 powerful truths about how to stop forcing life and let everything naturally fall into place. Each one carries a key that can shift your perspective forever. So listen closely to all of them, because together they reveal a path to effortless living. Number 1. The illusion of control. Many of us walk through life believing that control is the ultimate key to security, happiness, and success. We think that if we plan meticulously, manage every detail, and anticipate every possible outcome, life will bend to our will. We set schedules, make lists, and try to orchestrate every moment, believing that this effort protects us from uncertainty. But in reality, this relentless striving often leads to frustration, stress, and a constant sense of being overwhelmed. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. No matter how precise our plans or how strong our intentions, unforeseen events, unexpected encounters, and chance circumstances can reshape our path in an instant. Trying to control what is inherently uncontrollable is like trying to hold water in your hands. It slips through your fingers no matter how tightly you grasp it. The illusion of control is not just external, it is internal as well. We convince ourselves that if we control our thoughts, emotions, and reactions perfectly, we can avoid discomfort, pain, or disappointment. We attempt to suppress anxiety, fear, or sadness, thinking that these feelings are enemies rather than signals from life. Yet the more we resist, the more persistent these emotions become. Trying to dominate our inner world creates tension, rigidity, and a disconnection from the natural flow of experience. Understanding the illusion of control requires a shift in perception. Instead of seeing life as a series of obstacles to overcome, we begin to see it as a living process that we participate in rather than dictate. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or becoming passive. It means recognizing the limits of our power and learning to move with life rather than against it. By acknowledging that control is largely an illusion, we release the pressure to force outcomes and open ourselves to curiosity, exploration, and wonder. When we stop clinging to control, we begin to notice how life has its own intelligence, guiding events in ways we could never predict. Opportunities emerge, relationships deepen, and solutions appear seemingly out of nowhere. We start to respond with clarity instead of reaction, with creativity instead of rigidity. The surrender to life's natural flow doesn't weaken us, it strengthens us, allowing us to act with discernment, patience, and a sense of effortless alignment. The journey begins with a simple question. What happens if I let go of trying to control everything? How would my experience of life shift if I trusted the process instead of forcing it? This awareness, once embraced, becomes the foundation for living more freely, lightly, and fully. Number 2, surrender is strength. Surrender is a word often misunderstood. Many associate it with giving up, weakness, or resignation. Yet in the context of life, surrender is not about defeat. It is a conscious choice to release the exhausting need to control, manipulate, or force outcomes. True strength lies in the ability to step back, breathe, and allow life to unfold without resistance. It is the courage to trust that the universe, or the natural flow of events, knows its rhythm better than our limited understanding ever could. When we resist, we fight against reality, creating tension, frustration, and inner conflict. Every moment spent pushing against what is simply adds weight to our struggle. By surrendering, we are not abandoning action or responsibility. We are choosing to act from a place of calm awareness rather than panic or compulsion. Surrender allows us to observe, reflect, and respond with clarity, rather than being trapped in reactive patterns that lead to exhaustion and disappointment. There is a subtle power in surrender, because it transforms our relationship with uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, filled with twists, turns, and surprises beyond our imagination. Attempting to control these variables is like trying to catch the wind. It slips away the moment we grasp too tightly. Surrender teaches us to move with the wind instead, to bend and sway with circumstances without breaking under the pressure. It is in this yielding that we discover a profound resilience, a quiet confidence that life can carry us forward even when the path seems unclear. Surrender also cultivates presence. When we let go of trying to manipulate the future, our attention naturally shifts to the present moment. We begin to notice the beauty, subtleties, and synchronicities that were invisible when we were consumed with forcing outcomes. Life ceases to feel like a battleground and starts to feel like a flowing river, inviting us to swim with its current rather than struggle against it. This strength through surrender does not come instantly. It requires practice, patience, and self-compassion. Each time we release control, even slightly, we reinforce the understanding that we are not separate from life, we are part of its unfolding. Each act of surrender opens space for creativity, inspiration, and new possibilities that force could never generate. The paradox is clear: the more we surrender, the stronger we become. The act of yielding is an act of empowerment, a declaration that we trust life enough to stop pushing and start living with openness, curiosity, and a quiet yet unwavering courage. Number 3. Flow over force. Life often tempts us to believe that the harder we push, the faster we will reach our goals. We think that persistence means force, that success demands relentless struggle, and that only through effort can we bend circumstances to our will. Yet, nature teaches us a different lesson. The river does not battle the rocks in its path, the wind does not fight the trees, and yet both carve landscapes and shape the world effortlessly. This is the principle of flow over force, a truth that reveals the path to living with ease, grace, and natural alignment. Flow over force is not passivity. It is not waiting idly while life passes by. Rather, it is the art of engaging with life in a way that respects its rhythms, currents, and natural patterns. When we try to force outcomes, we often miss the subtle cues that guide us, and our energy is scattered, tense, and inefficient. Flow requires awareness, sensitivity, and attunement to the moment. It is about recognizing when to act, when to pause, and when to yield, allowing the momentum of life itself to carry us forward. Forcing creates friction, and friction creates resistance. We all know the exhaustion of pursuing goals with brute effort alone, the tension in our minds, the tightness in our bodies, and the disappointment when results fail to match our exertion. Flow, in contrast, moves with energy rather than against it. It uses circumstances, people, and opportunities as allies rather than obstacles. When we align with the flow, doors open naturally, solutions emerge effortlessly, and experiences arrive in ways we could never have planned or manufactured. Flow over force also cultivates creativity. When the mind is not rigidly trying to control outcomes, it becomes expansive and imaginative. Ideas flow freely, insights appear unexpectedly, and choices reveal themselves without strain. The beauty of flow is that it turns life from a battlefield into a dance, where each step is guided by intuition and each movement harmonizes with the surrounding rhythm. Understanding this principle requires trust. We must trust that life has an inherent intelligence, that challenges are part of growth, and that the path often unfolds in ways that defy logic, but ultimately serve us. Force might produce results temporarily, but flow creates lasting fulfillment. It is in the surrender to this current that we discover the elegance of effortlessness, the paradox that by moving lightly, with awareness and alignment, we achieve more than by pushing relentlessly. Number 4. The power of presence. In the rush of modern life, we often overlook the most vital dimension of existence, the present moment. We are consumed by memories of the past or anxieties about the future, and in doing so we miss the richness of what is happening right now. Yet, everything we truly experience, joy, peace, connection, inspiration, exists only in the present. The power of presence is the realization that life is not something to be chased or forced, but something to be fully lived in this very moment. Presence is not merely noticing what is around us. It is a deep, attentive engagement with life as it unfolds. It means listening without judgment, observing without interference, and participating without the need to control. When we are present, we stop reacting automatically to stimuli and begin responding consciously. We gain clarity, insight, and a heightened sensitivity to the subtle currents of life. Each interaction becomes richer, each experience more vivid, and each decision more grounded. For many, cultivating presence requires overcoming habitual patterns of distraction. We often live on autopilot, allowing thoughts, worries, and plans to dominate our awareness. This constant mental chatter pulls us away from reality, creating stress and dissatisfaction. The practice of presence invites us to slow down, breathe, and anchor ourselves in what is here and now. It is in these moments of conscious attention that life reveals its depth and beauty, often in ways that are subtle but profoundly transformative. Presence also transforms our relationship with challenges. When we are fully engaged in the moment, difficulties no longer feel like insurmountable obstacles, but as elements of a larger unfolding process. Instead of resisting what arises, we meet it with clarity, calm, and adaptability. Life becomes less about struggle and more about navigation, guided by awareness rather than compulsion. Furthermore, presence is the gateway to joy and contentment. When we stop obsessing over outcomes or striving to control the future, we allow ourselves to experience life's small miracles, the warmth of sunlight on our skin, the laughter of a friend, the subtle beauty in ordinary events. These moments, often overlooked, accumulate into a profound sense of fulfillment and inner peace. Developing the power of presence is a daily practice, not a destination. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to let go of distractions. Each conscious breath, each mindful observation, each deliberate engagement with what is, strengthens our ability to live fully. Through presence, we awaken to the richness of life, discovering that everything we seek is already available when we stop forcing and start noticing. Number 5. Trust the timing. One of the most challenging lessons in life is learning to trust timing. We often assume that if we want something badly enough, if we push hard, or if we plan meticulously, the universe will deliver exactly when we want it. Yet life rarely unfolds according to our schedules. There is a natural rhythm, a subtle timing, that governs the unfolding of events, opportunities, and relationships. Trusting this timing does not mean being passive or careless. It means cultivating patience and understanding that everything has its season. When we resist life's natural pace, we create frustration and anxiety. We measure progress by arbitrary milestones, comparing ourselves to others, or insisting that certain outcomes must occur immediately. This impatience blinds us to the present and blinds us to the lessons embedded in each stage of our journey. Trusting timing is about surrendering to the flow of life without surrendering our attention or effort. It is the recognition that the right moment, the perfect opportunity, or the essential person will arrive when the conditions are naturally aligned. The process of trusting timing requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing delays or setbacks as failures, we can view them as essential parts of the journey. Life often waits for us to mature, to gain insight, or to build resilience before revealing what is meant for us. In this way, every pause, every twist, and every unexpected turn carries meaning, even if we cannot immediately perceive it. Trust allows us to engage fully in the present, while remaining confident that the future will arrive as it should. When we release the compulsion to force outcomes prematurely, we open ourselves to unexpected possibilities. Opportunities that were invisible in our impatience now appear with clarity. People enter our lives at precisely the right moment. Ideas and inspiration surface when we are ready to receive them. Trusting timing is not passive waiting. It is active alignment with the currents of life, moving in harmony rather than against them. This principle also teaches resilience. By understanding that life unfolds in its own timing, we are less likely to be shaken by setbacks or delays. We develop patience, a deeper sense of faith, and the confidence to continue our efforts without desperation or anxiety. Each experience becomes a teacher, showing us that forcing outcomes often leads to frustration, while trust cultivates ease and natural flow. Trusting timing transforms our relationship with life. It allows us to release control, embrace uncertainty, and move through each day with curiosity and openness. We begin to notice that life has its own intelligence, orchestrating events in ways that align with our growth, needs, and destiny. Number 6. Freedom in acceptance. Acceptance is a concept that many misunderstand. We often equate it with resignation, settling, or giving up on our dreams. Yet true acceptance is neither passive nor defeatist. It is a profound act of understanding, a willingness to embrace life exactly as it is in this moment, without unnecessary resistance or judgment. Freedom in acceptance comes from realizing that while we cannot control everything, we can control our relationship to what is happening. By choosing to meet reality with openness instead of struggle, we free ourselves from the burden of constant frustration and inner conflict. Resistance creates tension. When we deny reality, criticize circumstances, or fight against what cannot be changed, we experience stress, disappointment, and fatigue. Life, however, is constantly shifting, unpredictable, and sometimes beyond our comprehension. Acceptance allows us to align with this truth rather than waste energy battling it. It does not mean abandoning ambition or ignoring problems. Rather, it means recognizing the difference between what can be influenced and what is beyond our control. In this space of clarity, our actions become more effective, focused, and meaningful. Embracing acceptance transforms our inner world. By letting go of judgments, grudges, and rigid expectations, we open ourselves to peace, contentment, and a sense of ease. Life no longer feels like a relentless struggle. Instead, it becomes a series of experiences to navigate, learn from, and appreciate. Acceptance allows us to respond with calm intelligence instead of reactive emotion. We begin to see obstacles as opportunities, challenges as teachers, and change as a natural part of existence. Acceptance also fosters resilience. When we acknowledge reality as it is, setbacks lose their power to overwhelm us. We can adjust, adapt, and continue moving forward without the emotional weight of denial or resistance. This mindset empowers us to face uncertainty with confidence, knowing that life unfolds in ways we may not always predict, but that are often in alignment with our growth and deeper purpose. Moreover, acceptance deepens our relationships. By recognizing and accepting people as they are, without trying to change them or impose our expectations, we create space for understanding, connection, and compassion. Life becomes less about controlling others and more about harmonizing with the world around us. The freedom in acceptance is subtle yet transformative. It allows us to release the futile need to force life into our preferred molds, enabling us to experience joy, clarity, and inner strength. When acceptance becomes a practice, it reshapes how we perceive every moment, every interaction, and every challenge, revealing that peace is not found in controlling life, but in embracing it fully. Number 7. Effortless alignment. Effortless alignment is the art of moving through life in harmony with its natural currents, rather than pushing against them. Most people live in constant tension, trying to force events, relationships, and circumstances to match their expectations. This struggle consumes energy, breeds frustration, and often leads to burnout. Effortless alignment, in contrast, is about tuning into the rhythm of life and acting in a way that feels natural, fluid, and in harmony with the moment. It is the understanding that life is most cooperative when we move with it instead of resisting it. The key to alignment begins with awareness. When we pay close attention to our surroundings, our instincts, and the subtle signals life provides, we begin to sense when to act and when to pause. This awareness allows us to respond with precision, confidence, and creativity, rather than blindly forcing outcomes. Action that emerges from alignment is efficient and effective. It flows without unnecessary struggle because it is rooted in an intuitive understanding of the moment and the context in which we operate. Effortless alignment also involves trust. By trusting that life has its own intelligence and timing, we can release the compulsion to control every detail. This trust does not lead to passivity. Instead, it creates space for us to act decisively when opportunities arise. We learn to distinguish between situations where intervention is necessary and moments where patience, observation, or subtle guidance will achieve far greater results. When we practice alignment, life begins to feel lighter and more expansive. Obstacles that once seemed overwhelming become manageable, and challenges that appeared threatening transform into opportunities for growth. We start to notice that when we stop forcing, doors open that we never imagined. Relationships deepen and solutions emerge with ease. The universe, in its subtle way, supports those who move in harmony with it, often revealing possibilities that were invisible when we were caught in tension and struggle. Effortless alignment also cultivates creativity and innovation. When the mind is relaxed and attuned to the present, new ideas flow more freely, and intuitive insights appear naturally. Our decisions become more inspired, our actions more precise, and our path through life more coherent. Alignment is not about abandoning ambition or effort. It is about directing energy in ways that resonate with the natural flow of events, producing outcomes that are both powerful and sustainable. Living in alignment transforms how we experience life. We move with grace rather than force, navigate uncertainty with confidence rather than fear, and interact with the world with openness rather than resistance. It is in this state of effortless alignment that we discover the elegance of action that feels both natural and profoundly effective. Number 8. The dance of life. Life is not a problem to be solved, a battle to be won, or a puzzle to be completed. It is a dance, a dynamic interplay of forces, moments, and experiences that invites participation rather than domination. Many of us approach life with rigid expectations, trying to control its rhythm, anticipate every step, and dictate the outcome. Yet, when we attempt to lead every movement, the dance becomes stiff, stressful, and joyless. The secret lies in learning to move with life, to respond to its rhythms, and to allow its natural flow to guide our steps. The dance of life requires presence and awareness. Just as a skilled dancer senses the beat, tempo, and energy of the music, we too must attune ourselves to the subtle cues around us, our environment, relationships, opportunities, and challenges. By observing carefully, we can understand when to move forward, when to pause, and when to let life carry us effortlessly. Attempting to force the pace or anticipating steps before they arise disrupts harmony and creates resistance. The beauty of life emerges when we embrace its inherent unpredictability and respond with flexibility and grace. This dance also demands trust. Life often presents unexpected turns, obstacles, or moments of uncertainty. When we fight these experiences, the dance becomes strained and uncomfortable. Yet, if we trust the flow, we can navigate changes with ease, seeing challenges not as interruptions but as essential movements in the choreography of existence. Trust allows us to release tension, embrace uncertainty, and engage with life creatively and playfully. Participation in the dance of life requires a balance of effort and surrender. Action must be deliberate yet fluid, intentional yet adaptable. When we attempt to control every step, life resists, and our energy dissipates in futile struggle. When we learn to synchronize our intentions with the rhythm of life, every movement becomes purposeful, natural, and effective. This alignment transforms ordinary experiences into moments of profound insight, connection, and joy. The dance of life also teaches us resilience. Missteps, setbacks, and surprises are inevitable, but they are not failures, they are part of the choreography. By learning to recover gracefully, adjust, and continue moving, we cultivate strength, flexibility, and a deeper understanding of life's patterns. Ultimately, the dance of life invites us to shift from struggle to flow, from control to harmony. It reminds us that existence is not a series of obstacles to overcome, but a rhythm to join, a melody to move with, and a journey to experience fully. Number 9, release the outcome. One of the most profound lessons in life is learning to release attachment to outcomes. We often tie our happiness, sense of self-worth, and peace to achieving specific results. We imagine that if we can only control the endpoint, then life will align with our desires. Yet this fixation creates tension, anxiety, and disappointment, because life rarely follows the path we expect. By releasing the outcome, we allow ourselves to engage fully in the present, act with clarity, and experience freedom, regardless of what unfolds. Releasing the outcome does not mean abandoning goals, ambition, or responsibility. It means acting with intention while remaining unattached to how things will turn out. This subtle shift transforms effort from struggle into flow. When we are obsessed with controlling results, we often act from fear, anxiety, or compulsion, which clouds judgment and restricts creativity. When we release attachment, our actions become guided by intuition, presence, and insight, allowing us to respond effectively to life's dynamics without being overwhelmed by worry or expectation. Attachment to outcomes also distorts perception. We evaluate experiences only by whether they produce the desired results, ignoring the lessons, growth, and opportunities inherent in the journey itself. Releasing outcomes invites us to see life as a process rather than a scoreboard. We begin to notice the subtle beauty in effort, the richness of relationships, and the unfolding of moments that would otherwise pass unnoticed. Freedom emerges when we stop measuring everything against a predetermined endpoint, and instead embrace the experience of living fully in the present. Furthermore, releasing the outcome fosters resilience. When life does not go as planned, those who cling to specific results often feel defeated or anxious. But by releasing attachment, we maintain equanimity and adaptability, understanding that every situation carries value, even if it diverges from our expectations. This mindset allows us to navigate uncertainty with confidence, openness, and curiosity, rather than fear and frustration. The practice of releasing outcomes also strengthens trust. Trust in life, in ourselves, and in the natural unfolding of events. When we let go of rigid expectations, we create space for opportunities, synchronicities, and solutions that could never arise under the weight of control. Life begins to flow with ease, revealing paths, experiences, and insights that were invisible when we were consumed by attachment. Releasing the outcome is a gateway to freedom, creativity, and authentic engagement. It allows us to act with intention while embracing uncertainty, to strive without strain, and to live fully without being confined by what we think must happen. Number 10, living lightly. Living lightly is the culmination of all the lessons we have explored. A way of being that flows effortlessly through life, free from unnecessary burdens, tension, and the weight of relentless striving. Most people carry invisible loads, expectations, regrets, fears, and the constant pressure to control or force outcomes. These burdens create heaviness, clouding perception, limiting joy, and trapping energy in struggle. To live lightly is to release these weights, to move through the world with ease, grace, and a sense of playful curiosity, fully engaged but unencumbered by attachment or fear. Living lightly begins with awareness. We notice the thoughts, habits, and patterns that create unnecessary strain and tension. We observe where we are holding on too tightly, whether to outcomes, people, or past experiences, and make a conscious choice to let go. This act of release does not mean neglect or irresponsibility. Rather, it is a deliberate practice of simplifying, prioritizing, and focusing energy on what truly matters. By letting go of what we cannot control and releasing what no longer serves us, we create space for clarity, creativity, and vitality to emerge naturally. Living lightly also requires trust in life. Trust that circumstances will unfold as they should, that challenges are temporary, and that opportunities arise when we are ready to receive them. When we trust, we no longer need to push, manipulate, or struggle against reality. Instead, our energy is freed for engagement, exploration, and joyful participation. This trust transforms obstacles into invitations, delays into lessons, and uncertainty into possibility. The practice of living lightly extends to our relationships and interactions. We let go of the need to control others, impress, or meet rigid expectations. We approach people and situations with openness, compassion, and acceptance, allowing connections to grow naturally. This creates harmony, reduces conflict, and fosters authentic engagement, where relationships are built on mutual presence and understanding, rather than coercion or force. Living lightly also cultivates playfulness and spontaneity. When we are not burdened by the weight of forced outcomes, we can explore, experiment, and experience life with a sense of wonder. Joy becomes accessible not as a distant goal, but as a natural byproduct of presence, curiosity, and ease. Ultimately, living lightly is about moving through life with grace, balance, and awareness. It is the ability to participate fully without clinging, to engage deeply without grasping, and to experience each moment with both intention and freedom. It is the recognition that life unfolds most beautifully when we release tension, trust the flow, and allow ourselves to dance with existence rather than struggle against it.